What's up, everybody? Very recently, I played through the remastered version of Ducktales again on Xbox 360, and I just have to take a moment to show some love for this game. The music is fantastic. The animation from the backgrounds to the character art is beautiful. The controls are tight, and the difficulty is just right. Oh, and don't forget the voice acting that brought back almost every original cast member from the cartoon to bring this game to life. You could really tell that the people at Wayward Technologies who remastered this Capcom classic loved the game and the cartoon as much as we did, and used that love to create this masterpiece. So whether you're an 80s kid like me, or just discovering DuckTales for yourself, let's take a look at the love letter to fans that is DuckTales Remastered. First off, I just want to say thank you for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like the video. It's free to you but means the world to me, and while you're here, tell me what you think about DuckTales in the comments. DuckTales Remastered is a 2.5D action platformer that has you playing as Scrooge McDuck while he travels the globe looking for rare treasures and finding trouble around every corner. Along the way, we'll see many familiar faces and help Scrooge save the day while also filling up his money bin. The difficulty is what you'd expect from a classic NES game. While nothing is overbearing, you still have plenty of trial and error as you learn where to go and how enemies attack. The bosses of course provide a little more challenge. That is until you learn their patterns, like I said. Look, this game isn't the hardest game you'll ever play, but is that really a bad thing? What's wrong with just having some fun and basically playing an episode of DuckTales? The controls are very simple. You move Scrooge and climb with the analog stick or direction pad and have two attacks. The first and most used is the pogo attack, where Scrooge uses his cane and jumps on enemies. This can be used to get over dangerous obstacles and large gaps as well. You can also use the cane as a golf club to hit enemies with projectiles or to move certain blocks to jump on to reach higher or secret areas. Once again, the graphics in this game are top notch. Every stage is unique and updated to a 2.5D display, which adds a ton of depth and detail to a game that originally didn't have much. The colors are all vibrant and the characters look like they were pulled straight from the TV show. DuckTales also runs incredibly smooth, at least on the Xbox 360. Which makes everything flow together quite nicely. To complement the shiny new coat of paint, we also have a rearranged soundtrack that smacks just as good as the NES counterpart, not to mention almost the entire cast returning to voice their characters. Everyone is back and they all have plenty to say this time around. I gotta say that when I heard Alan Young, Terry McGovern, and June Foray, I nearly lost my shit. Some of these people were well into their 70s or 80s and still came back for the fans, and I love them for it. Now, I do have one hot take on the music. Everyone loves the Moon theme, and it is good, but it doesn't hold a candle to the Transylvania theme in my humble opinion. Damn, this song bumps in the remake. DuckTales originally only had 5 stages, and this game brings those original stages back almost screen for screen, albeit with a few welcome additions. We now have an intro stage that has Scrooge rushing to the top of his money bin and saving his nephews along the way. Apparently the Beagle Boys are up to no good again. This is a completely new stage that sets up our adventure quite nicely instead of just taking you to a stage select like in the original. The main 5 courses can be cleared in any order, giving you the freedom to choose where you want to go. In the Amazon, Scrooge hunts down 8 golden coins that he uses to unlock a temple that houses an ancient scepter. In the heart of the temple waits a giant statue that must be defeated before we can collect our treasure. Once that's done, the locals gift Scrooge with the scepter. The next destination is Transylvania, where we have to avoid ghosts and mummies, all while rescuing Huey, Dewey, and Louie from the Beagle Boys. Here we're looking for the coin of the Lost Realm, which has been taken by Magica Dispel. After we battle her, she concedes and gives us the coin before retreating. Now we're off to the African mines, and here we have to find the giant diamond of Middle-earth. Apparently the mine is haunted, which causes Scrooge's miners to abandon their jobs out of fear. Once we get to Middle-earth, we discover a colony, and they seem to be the ones scaring the miners. After a quick scuffle, a truce is made and Scrooge gets his diamond. In the Himalayas, Scrooge has to recover a fuel regulator that Launchpad dropped and was split into 3 pieces. We chase down the rabbits holding the parts and return them to Launchpad so he can give us a ride to Shadow Pass. On the way, we encounter Flintheart Glomgold, who is still looking to become Duckburg's richest duck. We engage in a quick battle before clipping his wings. Once at Shadow Pass, we fight a Yeti to receive the lost crown of Genghis Khan. Finally, Scrooge is off to the moon to search for the green cheese of longevity. We hitch a ride with Gyro and bring Fenton along so he can use the Gizmo Duck armor to access where the cheese is stashed. Unfortunately, before we could do that, we have to rescue Fenton, who was abducted, and find the pieces of his armor scattered around the ship. After we do just that, Scrooge is able to get inside the moon cavern and find the cheese, which is eaten by a moon mouse that mutates into our next boss. After pouncing on it a few times, the mouse hands over the cheese. Back in Duckburg, Flintheart, Glumgold, and Magica Dispel break into Scrooge's money bin to abduct his nephews and steal all of his newly acquired treasures. In return for Huey, Dewey, and Louie, Magica wants Scrooge's #1 dime. She retreats to her home on Mount Vesuvius with the goal of resurrecting Dracula Duck using the treasures obtained by Scrooge. This stage is a welcome addition to the game, as in the original, you just went through Transylvania again. Now we get to traverse through a volcano before our final battle with Magica and Dracula Duck, and it's really a cool stage. The upcoming boss fight has to be one of my favorites in the game with the way it's been updated. Magica will use different spells on Dracula Duck to help him attack Scrooge. She'll supersize him and he'll try to chomp us, or sometimes she'll turn Dracula Duck into a bunch of bats we'll have to avoid as they try to crush us. Magica will also turn Dracula Duck into a giant green dragon that tries to hit Scrooge with fireballs. In between all these spells, Dracula Duck will appear and send bats at Scrooge that he needs to jump on in order to attack. Rinse, wash, and repeat a few times to beat Dracula Duck. After the battle, we have to race Flintheart and Magica to Scrooge's #1 dime, and then escape the rising lava by climbing out of the volcano and hitching a ride with Launchpad. After saving the day, it's time for a quick swim in the money bin to celebrate. Damn, this game really pulls at those nostalgia strings. Not only by updating a classic game, but by bringing back the cast that brought the show to life back in the 80s. I had a smile on my face practically the entire time I played, and that just doesn't happen often. I loved listening to the voices one more time when I never thought I'd hear those characters again. I love the way the game looks now. I think I just love this game. Can you tell? If you've ever been a fan of DuckTales on NES or the cartoon, you owe it to the kid in you to play this game. Don't forget to subscribe and hit me up in the comments. Once again, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.